Okay.
Bienvenido, Jörg. Jörg es parte, actualmente, ya lo voy a decir, de Performance Philosophy, el núcleo con lo que hemos estado en contacto. Jörg, it's your turn to introduce yourself.
Yes, of course. Thank you. I mean, first of all, thank you, Gabriele and Christian, for having me. And as you were inviting me, I was immediately interested in your project and also in a way appealed by the title of your project, State of Encounter, because in a way that already captures also my own interest in philosophy, especially in performance philosophy. Because in recent years, I've often worked on encounters, intercorporeal encounters between humans, but also encounters between humans and virtual reality, for example. So, and all of that is something that I, in a way, worked out or worked on for this book, Ethics of Alterity, in the Performance Philosophy series. And that's definitely a book that is a source for me to think about state of encounters. And Gabriel, when you were mentioning the vertical organization of the arts, the sciences, and the philosophy, I think it's more important then to point out that we should be more and more interested in the horizontal organizations. So in a way, and that's also, let's say, the mission of the network performance philosophy to organize ourselves in a collective manner and to question hierarchies and to make sure that we enter a dialogue between the arts and philosophy, for example, like we do now. And I mean, what we learned, at least from the pandemic, is to how talk about and how to talk to each other via Zoom, for example, and via virtual reality. And at least that's something very positive, that we can manage to talk to each other, even if we don't meet in person on site, be it in Lima at your home, or be it here in Passau in southern Bavaria, where I live and work at the moment. So that's also, let's say, an opportunity that we can continue to pursue. And that's also part of the process, I would say. Yeah. So that would be briefly what I have to say as an introductory argument, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. Christian?
Your microphone is off.
Okay. Is how you arrive to performance philosophy? How do you interest in the network? How do you?
Yeah.
Because that's very interesting to know. Because everybody, as I said before,
yes, that's true.
Different history, movements.
That's true.
And connections and preoccupation.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there are several aspects that led to my interest and to me joining performance philosophy. First of all, and that goes way back, you could say decades back, I was always interested in thinking through the lived body and language, for example. And from there, I very easily got to scholars like Austin and how to do things with words. So that was one source that in a way led me to continue to work on questions of the performative. And the other one was also in a way comparable, I assume, to you too, when it comes to performance art or performative arts. For example, in theater, but also in films. So I was about 15 years ago, I was quite often working on acting on stage and acting for the screen. So that's also something that led me to performance philosophy. And in between, well, I got more and more interested in the phenomenological approach and was reading more and more Edmond Husserl, Maurice Merleau-Ponty, Emmanuel Levinas, Judith Butler, and also Sarah Ahmed. And I think in between that, I met several colleagues in the performance philosophy network and joined. I think it was in 2013, so it's more than 11 years ago. And And from there, I became quite an active member. At the moment, I'm a core convener, where we also co-organized the conference in Texas, in Austin, Texas, that had also a virtual part in it. And from there, we continued to work. And then I published 2 books in the book series. Yeah, and that's really a fruitful network with a lot of colleagues, but also friends, I must say. And I'm looking forward to continue and to expand these colleagueships and friendships, and that's part of my work for quite some time now.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Gabriel, do you have another, or Jörg?
The relation in between the practice and the theory in the performance philosophy environment, how is in equally is more theory than practice? How do you think? What do you think about?
Yeah, I mean that's a discussion that is ongoing for quite some time now too. I wouldn't be so let's say polarized between the two of them. I would suggest to think more in between them. I'm really interested in this in between. It's really hard to grasp also. But and in between, we might say that between theory and practice, we all have, be as an artist or as a philosopher, be as a performer or as a scholar, we have our daily life experience, lived experiences, and that's where we meet, and then we can think about the relationship between the daily life experiences that I as a philosopher have or you as a performer have, and then we can think about multiple art forms, multiple experiences in everyday life, and then think about the philosophy of performance, performance as philosophy, and also philosophy as a performance. And that's all more or less what we all are working on in this network for quite some time now. So I wouldn't be too strict about this maybe even a division between theory and practice. I mean, it's sometimes it's not that helpful because sometimes it's also quite political and then quite restricting to think between these two terms. This is why I would always start with lived experiences and with our daily lives and with our experiences that we bring to a performance like you do, or that I bring to my writing, and then we meet in between the pages, so to speak, or in between your performances, your videos about the performances, and me watching these performances, experience these performances. So that would be one way to go, at least. I mean, there are more approaches, of course, but that would be my suggestion.
Yeah.
Last night I was watching some videos of our practice. For me, the best way to understand my own practice is watching videos about.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We have written some stuff, but the most that you understand the practice is watching videos, and we were. I mean, Gabriel was in Amsterdam in a kind of workshop with people in Amsterdam Biennale in 2019, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And of course, you can see the difficult time that everybody was passing through, because when we have a practice like ours, which is not very graspable, which is not very easy to, from many people in the last 10 years, the answer to, against our practice is silence. Yes, no, or don't like, or don't understand, but it's silence, you know? Which is nice, you know? Because we don't have enemies.
No.
But I was watching videos, and everybody was in like it's something that I'm gonna say now, because we will start our practice in 2010, and I arrived from Spain because I lived 3-4 years in Spain, and then I left, and we started a practice. But the first job that I got, it was a job that Gabriel passed me, which was working with handicapped people, and people with autism, Down syndrome, paralyzed, everything. I mean, in every district in Lima, there's a small organization which call this organize workshops and things for people with handicapped people, or people with disability, or they change the name every time in Peru, to call it. People doesn't know how to call these people, and it's like we are like that people, because people don't know what we do really. So when I was watching this, I realized that people were lost. I mean, were completely lost in what they wanted to, because Gabriel told them that you need to do, which is very simple, no? An action that we call a phrase with paper, for example, and you carry on with this pulse, with this pulsation in the paper or in the plastic, whatever, and then you don't finish your work. It's not like a sculpture that you do a sculpture, but you open a possibility for the next one.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Possibility for it is almost infinite.
Yeah.
We finish because we don't have time to do it. We can do it for a long day. As a process, as being together, as a state of encounter, no?
Yeah.
And people, at least in the arts, or in this case was the workshop with philosophers, but most of people were dancers, I think. They were trying to get something like choreographic, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They try with the paper and with the sheet, but instead to just keep it simple. I mean, as it was, that's what I noticed, and Gabriel can tell later, but he got the sensation for himself. But what I noticed is that people wanted to produce a result or try, because a choreographic stance is a product. It's a kind of I can demonstrate. It's like using the device, you know. I have to put the microphone. I know to connect Zoom. You know, machines are like that. I mean, they need to an outcome, an input, and you. Yeah. But in our practice, it's more like breathing, if you want, breathing together. And so for people, it's difficult to breathe together. And I notice as well in different places in Lima when I try, because I'm a theater teacher. So when I try to practice with actors or actresses, they wanted to produce things. They want to improvise and make it the result. And there's a lot of things that we can talk about: the ego, you know, the potential that you got for an artist to demonstrate that you can use your commands and your expertise, and, talent. And in this case, well, this is a big question. No? It's about how can you, for example, watching the videos as I did it last night, because I wasn't in Amsterdam. You can notice that to be playing, what you didn't notice when you see the videos in the practice between us, between Gabriel and me, no? what sort of relation got, because I'm theorizing about this relation with the other, the relation with the process of the plastic or the process of the paper.
Of course, yeah.
Which is something that Will Daddario called indifference. There's practice of indifference to the things, but not like pious things, like say, no, I don't care that, I don't, but more like giving to any object or any subject the same value and the same way to work with. So it's a kind of my question. I don't know if I'm clear, but
you are clear. I mean, it's a big question, but it's also a big problem. I mean, I was wondering, and that's something we can further talk about. Why is that? I mean, why have so many colleagues, be it in performance or be it in philosophy or in other areas of life, let's say, unlearned to breathe, like you say? I mean, and why are many of us striving towards these aims, these goals, these results, and always rationalize everything and want to produce and maybe even have to produce something? So being obliged to produce an end product like a performance that can be captured on screen, that can be shown to several people, or in my case, being pressured, but in a way, being obliged to produce several books and so on and so forth. I mean, and that's something that you also try to capture with the expression maelstrom of life that you have on your website. So this in a way downward spiral that continuously, endlessly goes down and down towards results, down towards products, and what's getting lost, of course, in between is to in a way stop this downward spiral, to stay in this metaphor, and yeah, like you say, to try to breathe, but from there also to try to contemplate. And then this is where also performance philosophy would come in, to reflect upon what you experience, and from there even to criticize it, whatever this practice will mean then. But that's part of the experience that we have on a daily basis, and it's both in performance and philosophy. I completely know what the two of you mean there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too difficult to practice with other people because they try to beautify all things, everything that they touch is, I don't know, like fragile.
Yes.
Even the paper of the rock or is more than the paper. I don't know how to explain. I don't think it's explain. It's to tell to communicate that the most important is our actions in between the materials or even in between two. It's there are video workshop of I do in Surrey for people in the Performance Philosophy Center. Lara Cole, we invite to do a workshop, and so in there I try to put the I don't know the consignas. I don't know how to say consignas. Mandatories. I don't know.
Commands.
Commands. That is like the I don't know is like a paralizarse, como,
paralysis,
empty,
something like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. If it's like a handicap is
Or like
because the most actions is the first image that we can reverse. Every time we can move an element or play with elements, almost we can play with it like a with the first image. We don't think we don't think more like that. But if try to paralyze ourselves, is more difficult because this image is gone, and when we totally empty in our mind, in our body, is the moment to play with this element.
That's true. Yeah.
So you in the environment of philosophy or the theory is like that is because with play with our hands or bodies is easy to do, but in our mind I don't know, it's always talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, what I would comment on that is in a way, it's seemingly difficult for many to be in the moment. So to be in the moment of the performance, for example, without the ability, or maybe even have lost the ability, or having lost the ability to let go, to just let the performance in a way affect me, and not trying to be on the safe side and withdraw from it, also in a way judge it. So that could be one way to think about it. So the inability to letting go. So and from there, and that's also appealing from what you are doing in this project. If we think about the states of encounters, if you would, well, in a way, think about that further, you could also say that every encounter, and that's from there, every state of encounter then is a fragile one. So it always has to be negotiated, be it in between the performers and the audience, or be it in between philosophy and performance, or also in between, for example, my students and me when we talk about a certain text or a certain performance. And it can always be different than the one encounter we had before. So there's no guarantee that everything will in a way result in the same thing. And there we have this striving towards results again. So that's something that I would in a way question further. And that's exactly, I think, what you do, as far as I understand it. Yeah.
Yeah. I got my microphone. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I commend that because you know, it's for me. Even I told Gabriel last night, we were talking about how can you be connected with your own practice after if you're doing your practice, no? Because we are talking now, and for me it's like our practice is like it's like it's like food. And I talked with Erin Manning about nutrition, like
right, yeah.
When I'm not eating a state of encounter, I don't feel anything. forget it.
Yeah.
Then when I started to eat, watching, reading, or thinking, started to have this appetite. This appetite
Right. Sure.
for the practice. Because I forget Gabriel, we forget each other. We live in a big city.
Yeah.
10 million people, so it's difficult to meet. It's difficult to meet in Lima. It's very difficult.
I imagine, yeah. Yeah.
So I was thinking about appetite and watching the videos, especially this last Amsterdam video. I was saying to myself, we need to go. We need to practice. We need to meet people. Huh? We need to. I mean, we've been in a virtual arena for about 5 years now.
Right.
And some people says in Surrey, a dancer, I think, in the worship in Surrey, Laura. This I don't know the name of the guy, but he said, why you need to, the only one of the ways he said that you can share these practices doing this conference and talking and then practice and then talking and then coffee and then practice, no? And
yes, of course.
That's intertwined things, mingling.
Yeah.
They can produce, for example, for people who write reading, for people who want to do some cinema, a kind of film, for other people who is a dancer, a choreography. I mean, you can use our practice for your own nutrition, for your own appetite.
Of course. Yes.
So it's very strange because I mean, I integrate that's the way that I integrate the practice in my own body. Because it's very physical. I'm not talking about idealism or things.
No, of course not.
Appetite, something very physiological. And the practice for me is like that. And I don't know if I'm jumping too much now, but I practice with a student in another city in Peru, and she's an actress, and she likes dance, and she's architecture. She studies architecture, and she was responding very well to the things that I propose her about our practice, and I was very sensitive. But one of the things that I remember that she was interested was because this practice allows her to just be there, just be with me and breathe in there, stay there. And just like that, she's not preparing a character, she's preparing a choreography. Because, you know, it's sad, but all the performing arts now is about selling things. It's selling things. It's just I prepare a piece of art to sell to you, like in Christmas time. No, everybody's selling things. Everybody's doing gifts to everyone. No? And she recognized that in this practice, she could use. I mean, she can apply for herself an instant of being, like that. You know, small action like that, and for me it was very surprising, you know, because she's an actress, and normally people get scared or they want to produce results. I was talking about before. And it was very interesting, and even myself, I was telling Gabriel that I was myself when I see the videos that we record. I found myself that trap because I prefer that she stay herself to know me, because I don't know, because I was a teacher in that place and this conditioned thing to be a teacher, and she is a student, no? And when I appear in the practice, I feel like oh, I just want to produce now. I'm gonna do a state of contour with my, and
right, yeah.
pathetic, pathetic. I feel like pathetic really, because I was not anymore in the thing because she was, but that's happen sometimes. Yeah? Somebody else is taking the role, and she understands it better even than me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but that's in a way similar to what I would say I have with my students. It's the same situation, of course, on another level when it comes to what we are doing there, of course. But it's always about entering a conversation, and entering a conversation is only achieved by in a way respecting the other students, the other actors, and by letting them speak, let them do what they want to do, and from there create an atmosphere where you can have this dialogue that is hopefully fruitful, and that is hopefully also, to stay in your metaphors, that is also in a way satisfying when it comes to the appetite, and from there also hopefully is a dialogue that can in a way enable you to stay still in the metaphor, to digest what you are doing on a daily basis, and that's part of what we are doing now also. So having this conversation about these practices, and from there thinking about how can we implement them even more in our daily life. Because of course, I mean, if you say painters are more or less in a way keen on just producing their artifacts to sell them, for example, of course, I mean, part of that is also, of course, out of necessity, because most of us live in conditions, in capitalistic conditions, where we'll have to sell products in a way to pay our rent and to pay our food. That's a necessity more or less we all more or less live with. But that doesn't mean if we do art or do philosophy that we will have to create those spaces, those maybe even spaces of the in-between, where we can exactly achieve these state of encounters that you were describing. And I think that's really important. And I mean, again, coming to the initial question, why is that not happening that often? I mean, I think it's part of a process that, in a way, for example, performance philosophy as a network stands for, to implement that more and more, both in dance and art schools, for example, but also in university settings. And it's a long way to go, but still, it's really important. And another thing, or another layer towards that, and that brings me back to my work on the in-between. I mean, what we are circling around here is thinking the in-between, or dealing with the in-between us. And we could also think about the in-between as something that, of course, doesn't result in anything apart from that we talk to each other and negotiate and are interested in each other. And that's quite interesting. You could compare it to a therapy session in psychoanalysis, for example, because there it's also not about an end result that you say after 14 sessions I will end up there. It's always about negotiating between the therapist and you as someone who has the therapy, for example. And by doing that, in a way, you as a patient hopefully feel better after 14 sessions. But it's impossible to have this rationalized aim at the very end. So that would be part of what I suggest that we could pursue, and we are doing that at the very moment, for example. Yeah.
Oh, you have some.
Your microphone is off. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I said the space to relations between our minds, our body, our thinking, or everything that is in daily life is maybe to put in the, I don't know, I don't say books, yeah, maybe in the interstitio. I don't say it's a
Interstice.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
yes, yes. So like a energy like that we can try to throw to between persons or so, so because the one practice is only one way to see all things. So a book is one way to say something. So if we can try to integrate, or I don't say integrate, dialogue with this position, this state of these people that do this book or the practices is only an state in this moment. So
Right.
the dialogue is always is infinite, is infinitum, infinitive. That is the big question, because every time that I try to speak with other artists, is everything try to put all these things in one pieces.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say that is even growth, even I don't say growth, even I don't say life is like that. Maybe like up, maybe like down.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, these processes, you could also say, and that would be to add to that, it's not about only the spaces we create, but also the time it takes to create these spaces. So it really takes time and effort to in a way create these spaces where you can allow yourself to create these atmospheres that we were talking about. So that would be one way to think about that even further. But it's difficult, and I mean, it's part of also, let's say, a pedagogy or an educational process that we will have to go through with colleagues who are not that secure in these spaces, for example, because they have to get used to these spaces, or not even colleagues, also even audience members and other people. Yeah, I mean that's part of the process that we are trying to continue to work on, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, we try to even continue in our practice.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Because a state of encounter is more than Chris or and I is a moment for all people can that try to play with elements or with even the wine is an element to play in this moment. So I don't
You're
know
right.
how to.
Yeah.
This is we listen.
I mean, even thinking about the process of playing, I mean, that's also something to think about. I mean, again, when I think about my students, some students really find it hard to play. For example, to play with concepts or to play with ideas or to play with their own courage, so to speak, to in a way initiate that and to think outside of the box, for example. And if I in a way apply that to your work and in your situation, and if I have a situation where I visit your performance and in a way have to let go and be in a way open to something playful, that can be difficult. Of course, because I'm not used to that. I'm used to structures that I need to get through my daily routine, for example. And if anything in a way is different from that, I might already become very insecure and very, let's say, more closed and open towards play, for example. So that's also interesting to think about the notion of play when it comes to the state of encounters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's I mean, always I speak with anecdotes that I think pass.
Of course, yeah, yeah.
Me. I'm not reading too much these days. So I was in a. I don't know if you know this guy is a Spanish guy who is a noise. He's a philosopher and is a noise musician as well. Called Martin. Martin or Matan. He is interested in very with speculative realism and stuff like that. But he came to Lima. He did a workshop. He did a performance, and I was in the last day in the in the workshop demonstration, which was not a workshop demonstration. Was improvisation with everybody else. But it's happened to me the same as the video in Amsterdam that I was commenting, because I was there, so I could tell what happened. I mean, the thing was about the name of the workshop was social dissonance. Social.
Okay. Yeah.
No, he's a sound artist. No? Because he trying to get the social involved into the through the noise or through the sound improvisation, try to get the people together or not together, or what intervene in ourselves in order to not to, or I prefer not to, you know. So what happened is like everybody was. I mean, the first thing we say when we don't want to do something is because we're afraid, or because we don't think it's really cool to do it, or because we is not clever, or I'm not talented, I'm very shy. Which are things that with Gabriel all the time we're dealing with, you know, when we practice. Because it's not about shyness, it's not about emotion. I mean, in a way that oh, he's clever than me, or I'm a theater, I'm a performer, he's not a performer, so he's in disadvantage. No, it's not. But it's more about what I usually were talking about, playing. You know, but playing in a way that allows to even stupidity or even silliness. Do it, have this possibility. So in this, I really recount this because people were basically afraid to be silly, to be stupid, to do something wrong. And because he said we can do now what you understand about social dissonance, which is afraid, you know, if you put it in the screen. And but what I was trying to get in this, what I'm saying about playing is that we need a little bit. I mean, I don't say commands like Gabriel said, commandos, but we need pathways, maybe, or like you know, Gabriel's father was a philosopher, so he talked with him a couple of years ago, and he said to us that it would be interesting, because he's a philosopher, he was a philosopher, that we should work or should propose keynotes, you know, keynotes, just to have some like 3 things, you know, work with paper, very small, keep it and pass it like this, you know. I'm trying to, you know, improvise now. my idea. But when you're playing, you need this keynote, so we need these parts, small even, because I talked to him, to this artist, philosopher, artist, you know, like everybody now, philosopher, artist. He said to me something. We didn't carry on the conversation, but I said to him, the people need a pathway. I mean, sometimes we don't need a concept, but we need like something which is not related with the concept even. Which, you know, we need a mouse in the house, you know. Everything cartoon comes up, no?
You need to offer them some kind of pathway, as you say, or some guidance, be it with a keynote or be it with one sentence that directs them towards what you want to talk with them about, or what do you want to create with them together. But yeah, I mean, but still, that's something, and I agree with you, and it's the same situation sometimes with students. It's surprising that this is so difficult, and I mean, why is that so? I mean, part of that maybe also has to deal with, well, being afraid of getting outside one's comfort zone, like you could say, and be in a setting that is really not part of your daily life. But still, I mean, it's a challenge, but it's a challenge to pursue, of course. And I mean, the more, for example, we talk about these practices, and we talk about these practices also with other practitioners, but also with philosophers, but also with people who are not in the field of performance philosophy, the more that gets in a way as something that they might internalize, and the more this becomes also their own practice. So it's about, in the end, and that's part of this ethics of alterity project, it's in a way it results, and that would be a result, but it's in a result that is achieved through this path that we are talking about. That's part of the creative thinking, it's part of being open to the world, and from there, in a way, being open towards other people, being open towards other settings that I am in, that I'm acting or not acting in. So it's let's say, an ethical effort that we will have to pursue in that, but it's certainly worth it. Yeah, I mean, we know if it works in these also workshops. I mean, workshop is also there an interesting term to pursue. It can be really fruitful, and it can be really fruitful, especially for those people who are not that familiar with these situations that we are describing, and they can all well, and that would be one thing to think about too. They can in a way apply that to their daily life, whatever their daily life will look like, but in a way change some perspectives, for example, towards other people around them. And if you now bring that to political dimensions, for example, that's really important. I mean, thinking about the topic of migration or racism and so on and so forth. So that would be one way to start. But it's in effort, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. It's more easy to do something like not to do. It's maybe I tried this in a workshop. A word like stop, don't do. Is like it's aggressive. Is like it's like put the hands in your body to it's like that. But when you go now, is more this person in this moment is more than the 10 minutes or 5 minutes before.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the pathway, the way. Maybe it's an action that may be aggressive, but is more powerful to do something pure or raw. I don't say
Yeah, I know what you mean. I wouldn't call it pure or raw, but I mean, in inaction or not doing something is also in a way an action, because it's something that resists the regular action or the regular acting, and it would be something that you do that can also be subversive in a way, but it can also be something that can interrupt the processes that you are in, and from there start something new or something that goes in a different direction, and yeah, and from there achieving something else. So or not only achieving, but from there developing something else. So to put it to a halt, to stop, and from there thinking about something different. So it's an intervention, I would say. So that would be an interesting word there. Yeah.
Intervention, you said.
Yeah, it's an intervention. So I would prefer not to, if you think about Bartleby and Melville and something like that. That can be also an intervention, because it's also very difficult for the other people around you to come to terms with that. Why is he doing nothing at the moment? How can I respond to that? And if you, in a way, think about that in a performance or also in a philosophical discussion, what are you doing with that? And that's really slippery. It's really difficult, but that can be really fruitful, of course. And in a way, it can, in a way, proceed to something different, something new. Yeah. So that would be another way of approaching what you were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jörg, I would like to animate you to ask something to us. I mean, like a raw.
Yes, of course.
Question.
Yes, of course. Yeah. I mean, what we've now talked about would also then mean, or could mean also, and also given what you've performed so far, that the performance itself will also be something that can change within the performance. So that would also require from the two of you to let go in a way, and to be also satisfied with your appetite when you get something to eat, to stay in this metaphor, that you don't like. I mean, that's also part of it, isn't it? I mean, and there we are on the level of discussing a performance from the performer's point of view, where you can be also rejected, for example. That's also possible. But that would be something to think about further, and to think about also in terms of well, it's okay that I'm rejected. It can also be part of a failure, whatever that means. So that would be interesting also to think about this, let's say, negative aspects of what can happen to you as a performer when you perform. Because again, the state of encounter, as we were saying, is a fragile one, and that's also true for you, of course, when you encounter, well, an irregular audience, but also when you encounter philosophers, for example. So you know what I mean. So that's also part of the tension that you are, and that's what I imagine, the tension that you are facing when you are on stage or in a theater or someplace else. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we what we're trying now is, as I told you before, is bring the thing into another layer of our practice, which is what, and I feel, is to share the practice.
Yes.
Kind of format, or special, workshop,
right? Yeah.
Or seminar or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because, well, personally, I need to move. I'm a physical.
Of course.
Yeah. Need to move, because if I'm sitting, I want to stand up now, because I feel like I'm trapped in the screen.
Yeah. You have to hold still. Yeah.
So it's this next layer we're thinking now. We need to reactivate what we got, because we got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a very big archive. And so this, what we can imagine, if this is the right word, imagine the possibility to encounter people here, outside. I mean, Gabriel has this experience with people in Amsterdam, in London, and in Prague, which I would like to ask him, maybe, because I don't know, I never asked him. I mean, this is maybe the first time I asked him what he really recovered from that experience of encounter with all this.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you wrote something about maybe Gabriel in the diary. I remember. But I would like to. It's like a question for you, but it's also a question for your, in a way, to as a core governor or involved in performance philosophy. What is the really because, you know, as I said before, I'm a performer, so for me, it's difficult to write. It's difficult to write about my practice. Even it's difficult to make a statement about what we do in written way. So after the conference, after the Biennale, always I feel that I need to look for the papers. You know, where is the papers? Where some papers here, some papers just happen, some workshops, but there is not really. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know what the people really get from the Biennale, and what is the next, as a state of encounter, what's the next phrase, what's the next action.
Right. Yeah.
Once finished the Biennale, everybody goes to their own homes or university. Voila. So this is a question for Gabriel, but also for Jörg, in a way, to when we have these encounters, what is that allows you to have this, carry on with this nutrition words to keep, as an enzyme, you know, enzyma.
Of course. Yeah.
The enzymes are very important for our digestion. So what is this enzymes still carry on in our bodies? That's it. That's my question for. Then you're gonna give me something from.
Yeah. Gabrielle, please go first if you like.
I don't know. I don't get into with anyone with maybe the Latin American people, but the European it's the experience. I remember now the experience, like the Latin American people. I divide this particular way to see the experience. I see now the experience in this moment like I don't know how to say, fruits in the tree, on the tree, but I don't alcanzar. I don't get. It's too high to me to eat in this moment. But I like that. But now I think if I now have to possibility to travel in time back, I think that the papers need to translate in actions, and the performance translate into words or phrases or writing. That is the play. That is the signification of the dialogue. Maybe it's then and now is too difficult, but is interesting to try, because not all the things that we do, is no need to finishing in an object or on a product in something beautiful or nutrirnos, ¿no? Nutrir más. But the play is more interesting. It's the process, is the dialogue, is the daily life in this particular environment, like the festival or Vienna. Now, I think, but in this moment, I say I told you, Christian, like Latin American people that try to get something too big to put or to carry in my bag, in my package. But it's now, bueno, it's 8 years or 5 years, I don't remember. Is the time I need to digerir, digest this experience.
Right. It's a long time.
Yes. I'm.
Yeah. Yeah, but I would suggest that this need to put something in my bag is not just a local one, and let's say local in Latin America. It's a global need, so to speak. But then again, I mean, what would be the role then of performance art, performance philosophy? And I think when it comes to these performances that we are talking about, or these classes I teach, in a way, of course, they are ephemeral, so they are just in the moment, and when the moment is over, they are not there anymore. But if we think about festivals, for example, or even classes that I teach every semester, there's a repetition, of course, going on. And the more we do that, and that's also in a way, let's say, to be a little bit cautious, but it's also in a way the approach of performance philosophy, to go on tour with what we are standing for, to go on tour and to spread the word, to spread the performance, and from there also to share what we are thinking about, what we are doing or not doing with our bodies, and from there also in a way to achieve a certain outreach, to the public, in a way of kind of an open art, an open performance, an open philosophy that in a way also maybe, ideally at least, offers some responses to all the crises we are in, be it economic inequality that's getting bigger and bigger, migration, digital changes, political radicalizations, the climate change, the pandemic. So in between all these crises, I think it can be in a way even our outreach, or maybe even our mission, to intervene with what we are doing and what we are thinking about, and what we maybe in a way guiding other people to contemplate, to reflect upon, and to criticize. That would be at least something that I would hopefully be able to pursue further. And if we talk now about performances that are in a way structured around or even as a workshop, that's also possible, because then you have the dialogue not only with you within your ensemble, for example, of performers or performance philosophers, but you also have, let's say, guests from the outside that are not that familiar with the arts or with philosophy, and then you can enter another dialogue, and that would be in a very important to pursue further, I would say.
Yeah.
And this is and this is also part of what performance philosophy does with the conferences that are not exclusively academic or not exclusively just about closed performances that only the academics watch. So this is ivory tower mentality that's not in there. And yeah, that would be one way to go, and then collectively organize oneself in another way. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't understand very well what you mean, Gabriel, with the fruit into the tree, and
Yeah.
you know, because I thought about Adam and Eva, you know, in the tree of knowledge, the tree of knowledge. No, for that, like we need to jump more or devise into the top of the tree. But could you explain a little bit? That's
it's because it's too many people. Is maybe 100 or I don't know, people to try to speak to tell other people to the see the way to they people see the world, and the philosophers and the practitioners always try to say like a true, the only true, the only I don't know, say it's more is the, the information in this moment is a lot, but in a festival, the 3 days or 4, I don't remember, 2 days, 3 days, is constantly like a bomb, like a pallet. So I try to preserve myself, and at the same time I try to eat all this because is all these things was important, are important now, but I don't have the possibility the carrying my back all these things that I want to eat. So and in 5 years ago, I try to I don't know to be another people. Maybe I I I I I don't know. I think about myself is more like I don't know how to say, like a punk, England punk. This ¿cómo se llama? Anarchist. Because no, esta es una, this is an anécdota, una anécdota. In Amsterdam, the last day, I don't want to speak in English, so I speak in Spanish all the time. Even when I have to say in the auditorium, in my turn, decir, voy a hablar en español. Sé que me entienden porque estamos en Europa, no estamos en Estados Unidos. Hablé. I feel, in this moment, I feel free. I think that I put myself in a position to demonstrate something. Now I don't think like that. But this is the I don't know how to say the impostor syndrome. I think.
Yeah, imposter syndrome. Yeah.
And in the other hand, I think now that is the way to say I need help to express in words. I'm a visual artist. I don't like to talk. I don't like. I write, but I don't like to talk. And in this moment, I don't I don't wanna speak. But if I try to speak, I speak in Spanish. Para que sientan lo que yo siento. Like that.
To feel what they feel.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, that's yeah. But
yes.
Again, yeah. That could be an intervention too, and it would be totally okay, so to speak. But of course, it would be then if you are surrounded by other people who don't understand you but want to understand you. It would be good to have someone who translates, so that you can this let's say workshop where you want to deal with understanding each other, that you can keep that going, so to speak. It depends. I mean, that's part of another process to think about. Yeah.
It's another. It sounds very very tempting to say that intervention is the only way, but
no,
but it's like a I mean, our view as Latin Americans is very informed by I mean, I could say that we Peruvians, Latin American people, you know, what I have here in my bookshelf is more European books about philosophy, about theater, performance art. There is a movement of people now to try to rediscover or research into the seminal knowledge of the Andes, for example, in Peru.
Yeah.
Specifically. And I've been living in the Andes for about 3 years, before the last 3 years. So this is very, very interesting what Gabriel says, because people in the Andes feel the same about Lima, which is the capital. About the provincial towns, people want to get to Lima, like get the fruits from Lima, no? Which is money, which is, you know, it's better jobs, work.
Yeah.
I'm just expanding, you know, the conversation into the social political thing or social. About
but you are right. I mean,
being Peruvian, and of course, when you are in a Biennale, which is in Amsterdam, you know, or in Prague, you know, which is Central Europe, you know, almost surrounded by this academics, which for us, as we've been taught in Latin America, are the, you know, the disciple of Heidegger, or disciple of you know, Foucault, you know, we feel like, oh, no? And so probably is the paradigm, the paradigma, I don't know the English paradigm, is difficult to grasp or to change in a way of what is knowledge is. What is what is knowledge? No, is the big question. For me, and my experience says, I mean, I'm trying to get the bridge. I mean, because I've been formed by Jesuits. I'm being, you know, educated as a with Western things. My parents, most of my grandparents came from the Andes, but my education, which is the seminal thing for knowledge sometimes, or for understanding knowledge, is from Europe or from Western. So when I've been in the Andes, people, even I try to challenge the concept of knowledge. People even they're trying to be more Westerners than what I propose, because it's still here thinking that even when you say Peru is food, you know, Machu Picchu, you know, it's difficult to challenge the ways that people get near to what is the concept of knowledge or truth. It says, what is truth? You know? Because it's in the trees of the Western. I mean, it's the North. I mean, it's all right to say now, like North and South, you know? So it's we never challenge in our practice. I mean, Gabriel, we have a very, very interesting conversations about we're not doing political, we're not doing some statements, very, you know, but you know, working with a paper, working with a plastic, you know, like something in the garbage, is very political. No? Indeed,
of course,
and
yes,
it's like I mean, trying to, when I said micro revolutions, no, minimal revolution, no, the Syria revolution, no, the invasion of, you know, that was happening now, which are big names, big invasions, and Hezbollah, big names, no? Hezbollah, big name now, no, everywhere. But you know, the small relations with everyone, any other people, to contribute to understand what we are, what is knowledge, what is truth, what is understanding the other, for example. And for myself, for example, is a challenge as well. Some teacher in England, Ian, I can't remember her name, is a philosopher as well, told me that I showed the videos, you know, the practice, and he said three things, you know, or three small phrases, like even when you, he said something like even when you're working with a paper and a plastic that you can grasp, you still carry on with the fight, you know? Because he understood our practice like we are like dying, we are even in the last moment, we try to move the paper. And that's very nice. It's very, very beautiful as well. You know? Like poetically, in a state of encounter practice.
Yeah. But well, I was thinking in a different direction now. I mean, it could be also interesting to pursue this thought with this tree where you have these apples up ahead of you and you can't reach them. And if these apples in a way symbolize Western European thought, for example, and you can't reach that. I mean, you could ask, why would you try to reach it? I mean, is it necessary? Aren't there other trees with other fruits? Can't you change your diet, so to speak? And can't you get appetite for something else and then digest something else? Is it necessary to just stick to this one tree? That would be one question, and then the other question would be, if you want to stick to this tree and can't reach the apples, why don't you cut the tree to reach the apples that they fall down? And that would be in a way almost a strategy to challenge Western European thought and to insist on there are other thoughts than this Eurocentric perspective, and there are other ways of approaching performance, there are other ways of approaching philosophy, and in between there are also other ways to talk to each other. And I mean, from my point of view here, sitting in Western Europe and having this Western European education, I must also say, I am, of course, but I'm now, let's say, impersonating others. Am I open to other perspectives that are not from my own tree? Will I eat other apples, so to speak, from other trees that I don't know how they taste? And I'm a little bit frightened about trying them out, if I even can digest them in a very healthy manner. So I mean, that's also about, from the Western European side, it's also about being open towards others when it comes to other perspectives, but also being in a way aware of that this is more than necessary to do that, because we are not alone in the world, and Western Europe is not the center of the world, so to speak. And that, of course, requires another approach to your own subjectivity, to your own position, and it has ethical and political implications, of course. But I think this metaphor with the tree should be a metaphor with different trees, and let's see who wants to eat what, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, Gabriel, you want to eat apple or what?
I need to eat everything.
Yeah, you need to, and I mean, just a last thought for performance philosophy. This is also an imperative, more or less, because we were now talking about the conferences in Amsterdam and Prague. Why isn't there a conference in Peru, for example? So that's also something we are working on and thinking about. It can't be that we, in a way, pursue these other trees and are interested in these other fruits and are also collaborating with these other fruits and trees, but still in a way are more or less in the Western European, and also when it comes to Texas now, the North American hemisphere. So that's also, of course, part of what would has to change. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yes. Is the way, I think this is the way that there are we have I think that we have a lot of fields to do something,
Of course,
to live, to grow, to paint with flowers. So the interchange, I don't know, say the shade to these lives, these daily lives is interesting to now in the global world to do. Is the way, I think this is the way to relationships in human, like human beings with knowledge, with the I don't know, is knowledge, is maybe the experience, like one human is a lot of things that what we can eat everything and need to eat everything, I think.
I mean, do we really need to eat everything? I mean, we can have a certain diet and exclude certain types of food from our diet. so to speak. That it depends. It depends. I mean, but I mean, why always thinking about knowledge? Why not starting a little bit earlier, maybe way more down the tree, so to speak, as at its roots, when it comes to questions of meeting one another, like we do here, meeting another one, and then from there also taking care of each other. I mean, thinking about care is also, I think, very important. So, and if you do that, and if you achieve that, and from there achieve a certain respect for one another and an acknowledgement for one another, maybe then it's not that important anymore to reach out for this really golden apple at the very top, because it doesn't say too much to you anyway, or it doesn't taste like that good like you imagined anyway. So just to stick to that, yeah. It's a challenge, of course. That's to be sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice image of the tree and the fruit.
Yeah,
I'm gonna use
yeah.
it.
Yeah, yes. We could use it in a performance and write about it. Thank you, Gabriel. That's really food for thought, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking. Yes, this now is how can we in this part of the conversation maybe we can talk a bit. How can we try to make a conspiration, of of cutting the tree, or or seeing, sowing the seeds.
Yeah.
One or fake black trees. I mean,
yeah.
I
mean, we could acknowledge the presence of this old and tall tree with its golden fruits, and also in a way still think about it, reflect upon it, but we can also criticize its presence, and next to this huge tree we can plant other trees, and from there plant trees that develop in other ways, that also have other fruits to taste, and from there we get a whole forest, ideally, that we can think about. So that this would head towards variety, diversity, and all of that. So
yeah. So we would like to ask you if how can we practically kind of set up these conversations, more of these conversations for the next future. We're thinking to travel. I mean, I've noticed that it happens for us that don't know why, but Portugal has been in our heads for a long time. We met people in Portugal. I did a workshop with João Fiadeiro, which is a performance artist. We talk with João Fiadeiro as well. Well,
yes.
Gabriel has been in Lisbon 2019 as well. The same year you were in Amsterdam, I suppose. I can't remember that. So yeah. And I noticed that you've been working with a guy which is a kind of teacher. I don't know if he's Peruvian, I think. I feel that he's Peruvian.
He is, yes. Ricardo, you mean Ricardo, yeah.
Yeah. I think his name and his profile is very Peruvian. So we're thinking how can, because we feel that we intuit that it would be nice if in Portugal we can we have all these connections with people.
Of course, yeah.
Do something like in contact, there. So we would like to ask you if we can comment this, so we can try to set up for the next year, lately next year, maybe try to invent something, yeah, or reinvent
That
movement.
that should be possible, because I mean, you have a lot of people there that you have already collaborated with, and Ricardo and I, we just had this workshop this last weekend on the topic of resonance, where there were also other colleagues also from Latin America. And I mean, the first thing that we did, and that's the same that we are doing now, we meet via Zoom, because that's an easy thing to do. It's not about funding, it's not about traveling. And the next step would now be to look at possibilities that enable us to get some grants, ideally, to connect. But let's keep in touch about that, I would say. And I can also think together with Ricardo, and then we meet again, I would say, in January or February, because you're right. It would be interesting also to gather as a larger group than the 3 of us, or the 4 or 5 that you already have. So let's say 10 people, and to think about future collaboration. And I mean, that can be established via Zoom at first, and then it would be great to meet. But also, I mean, it's also possible, parallel to these on-site meetings, to establish an online format, because I mean, we will be in situations where we don't have the financial means to meet regularly. And then this is, of course, also a nice possibility that we, in a way, learned through the pandemic. We didn't like it, but in a way, it's also something to see in a positive light, because it enables us to get in touch, at least virtually. So let's hear about that, of course. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Cool. That's very nice. Yeah, because
yeah,
it's that our appetite is required.
Yeah, of course.
We need to change Peruvian food. It's very nice.
Yes, but yeah, I know, but let's see, from my side, the appetite would also be to eat Peruvian food, of course. I mean, think about the exchanges, of course. So yeah, but that's interesting. So let's plant several trees on several continents. Yeah.
But the only thing we are not integrating in academic. I mean, we come from a university, Católica University in Lima, which is San Marcos, Católica, are very important universities here. But we are not integrated very, very strongly in the academic stuff or in academic environment. We try, but it's difficult because there's a lot of, how can I say? I mean, we need more contact. I've been away 3 years, Gabriel as well.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, academic is not the only way. I mean, we can.
Of course not.
We can find another spots when we can develop things.
Yes.
And of course, you're welcome if you come to Peru. Of course, you're welcome. We need to carry on these conversations.
We will do, definitely. Yeah.
I'm very glad that that's the thinking.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Gabriel, you want to say something more about Maureen? Portugal.
No, yes, I don't know. We totally say to thank you for joining us in that crazy experience, like the box of tools that we can open, close anytime to speak more than our practice, but it's more than the daily life, our daily life. Is more than art, is more than our life like human beings, is more than philosophy. Is like a need to be, need to talk, need to exist in this world. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for this hilarious moment.
Well, thank you too, of course.
So I don't know. I think that is the way. That is the way to know everything that the people.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Yeah, well, and thank you, of course, for inviting me, and thank you for also this very open discussion. And we will continue it. That was the first step, the first 1.5 hours, and there will be more hours. So let's make that happen. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it's been a pleasure. Really, we are very interested in your book. It's difficult to find it here.
Okay.
Because you mentioned in the beginning and then alterity.
Yeah.
Because we have these concepts of indifference. I mean, a part of our work is working in the concept of neutral and indifference and alterity, because this I think this congregate concept. So we'd like to read your book. We are interested to. If
of course, I do have it as a PDF, of course, so I can send it immediately to you. So then you have it in your inbox.
That would be great. That'd be great.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Christmas gift. We can.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I would need your email address, Christian. I just have Gabriel's, I think.
All right.
So, yeah.
Okay, you can. Yeah. Gabriel, you can pass my email address as well to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are also expecting that we can carry on the conversations, which is after all this Christmas time we can
of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, you're welcome to Peru. You're welcome to this beautiful land. It's incredible, beautiful.
Yeah.
And also we like to meet you in. Are you from Germany?
Yes, I am from Germany. Yeah, I've been in Berlin quite some time before. So yeah.
And so I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if this is hilarious as well. Suggestion: we can make a link of performance philosophy of this interview once we got it in the. Gabriel's got it set up in the YouTube. If you got the link directly to the performance network, if you can.
Of course, and I will also spread the word, so to speak, spread the links on social media like I did before. So just keep me updated as soon as it's online, and then I will spread the link and let's spread the word, so to speak.
Whatever you need to help for thinking in the future for performance philosophy, because we would like to be involved in the organization, but we can, because we've been present since the beginning. That's the reality.
Right.
2013, I met Laura, so I know I was. I never been in the Biennale, but I'm like I'm a ghost in the Biennale. Ghost in the machine.
But Christian, you are also part of the editorial board for the book series at Performance Philosophy, aren't you? Or do I mix you up? Then I mix you with another colleague. Okay, I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah.
That would
be more active in the way that we can collaborate.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Let's think about that. And I mean, can meet again January, February, and I will also talk with Ricardo, and because we think about further collaborations anyway. So yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, we like to make Ricardo as well. So
yeah, of course. You will meet him.
So,
yeah.
Hola, Gabriel. So, Jörg, thank you.
Okay.
Have a nice Christmas.
You too, and you too, and
enjoy the cold. No, the snow.
It's cold. Yeah, no snow, but a lot of fog. So yeah, that's.
Right.
yeah. But another time, another place. Let's see. So.
Covering fog, you know.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Thank you so much. See you soon. Okay.
See you
Bye.
Bye.
See you next time. Bye. Bye.
Bye.